Hi, my name is Harry Watts. I'm a World War II veteran and I'm the Vice President of Friends of Veterans Canada. Welcome to our website. I was dispatch rider in World War II. That means that I rode a motorcycle, specially trained to stay alive in the worst conditions of weather and everything that was going on around me. And I started in Italy, from Naples up through Cassino, ended up in Ravenna and Rimini. At that time we left to go up through France into Holland to VE Day. These videos are going to tell you some amazing stories from other veterans, and I'm going to share one of my stories with you from one little incident in one little town in Italy in November of 1944. The weather was nasty, it was wet, it was cold, and the young people in this small village were running around in bare feet in the mud and the cold. The boys and the girls were both just wearing shorts, short sleeves, short pants, many of them with holes in them. It was hard for us to see what they were suffering. With the help of other members of our group, we gathered blankets that had been used to take soldiers, wounded soldiers, to the hospital. These blankets were covered in blood and in mud, and we gave them to the ladies of the town and they washed them. And then the tailor took these blankets and cut them up and made skirts and dresses for the girls. For the boys, we found old uniforms that had come off these wounded soldiers, and the tailor took these old uniforms and cut them down so the boys had some warm clothes to wear through the winter. And it was an amazing sight to see these small Canadian soldiers having fun in this village. And this is just one story of the dozens that you're going to see on this video. Other veterans will share with you from France, from Holland, and also from Italy. The mission of Friends of Veterans Canada is to preserve the history of our veterans and our peacekeepers so that our young people will know what they did and where they did it. I have another amazing story that I would like to share with you. This is one of the last exciting moments as a dispatch rider that I really remember. I was in camp, and when I was in camp, first thing you had to do in the morning was go to the signals truck and ask the signalman if any messages had come in through the night that the colonel must see. And it had to be very urgent to give him something at 6 o'clock in the morning that was really that important. So I went to the signal, struck 6 o'clock on the morning of May the 5th, 1945, and I asked Alec if there was anything that was worthwhile waking the colonel up. He assured me that what had come in, and he was just finishing transcribing it so that it was readable, and he put it in an envelope, and he said, yes, take this down and wake up the colonel, which I did, and expected to get chewed out for waking him so early. But this morning, when I gave him the message, he opened the envelope and he looked at me, and he always just called me Watts. But this morning he looked up at me with a happy look on his face, a smile actually, and he said, Harry, it's over. And that when I knew that this was the peace agreement that the Germans had signed, that the war was over. And I remember going out and telling a few people, the cooks were just going down to the cook tent to make breakfast, and I told a couple of them, and then I went back to where my motorcycle was, and I had just finished fueling it up, and I remember sitting down on that jerry can and giving thanks that I was going to go home in one piece. And then I thought about all those thousands of other Canadians that weren't going home, that weren't going to get to share their stories with their families. And it made for a happy time and a quiet time. And as I looked around the camp, the few that I had spread the word had spread the word to everyone in the camp. And it was a very quiet camp. There wasn't a lot of hooting and hollering and jumping like sometimes you see in television stories or movie stories. Everybody was quiet with their own thoughts, and they were sharing these thoughts with their buddies in small groups. That was how I remember that most important day. We partied pretty good that night, but that morning we were all with our own thoughts giving thanks.